What is happening, everybody? MG here, MG Covers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, Week 10 NFL Sports Betting Preview. You can see on the screen, we're going to look at my top 5 power rankings for NFL, compare those to ESPN. Before we do that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video, I'm begging you, subscribe to the channel. As you know, everybody that has a YouTube channel thrives and lives off subscribers and likes. So if this video, after you watch it, brings you value, greatly appreciate a like. That helps the channel grow. And hey, you might want to share this. Chances are, if you're a sports handicapper or wager on sports, you probably have friends that do the same. So greatly appreciate you sharing some of these videos as well. All right, we're going to look at my top 5 power rankings. Before we do that, let's review last week. We had a really good week, 6-1-1. The big game, KC and Tennessee. We had that game basically right at even. Public way overreacted to KC. KC was actually the ticket count was fairly even, but the line was way off. Kansas City minus 14. I said this a month ago. KC, very, very, very overvalued team in the marketplace. However, you look at a team like Tennessee. Tennessee's 5-3 this year. 6-2 ATS, very, very, very undervalued team. And anytime you see a team with a winning record but a losing record ATS, that is a clear sign that that team is very overvalued. Case in point, KC is 6-2 record, but they're 3-5 against the spread. So very overvalued team. So let's dive right into it. My top 5, we have Baltimore number 1, Philadelphia number 2. And again, told you guys this a month ago, Philadelphia was the best team in NFL. It took the public and ESPN a couple weeks to catch on to that, but you can see there they have Philadelphia now at number 1. I think they had Philadelphia number 1 last week. And then coming in number 2, ESPN has KC number 2. The reason I show you ESPN is that it displays the bias that the public has towards these teams, because if you look at my power rankings, and if this is your first time watching one of my videos, it's a 100% statistically driven model, which means it's basically 2 + 2 = 4. So whatever my model calculates, that's what I show. So this over here, ESPN's power rankings are driven off of bias, and more times than not, the sportsbook lines are driven by bias. That's why KC was minus 14, but in reality, that game should have been close to even, and you saw that in the game. KC barely won that one. So they have KC number 2. They have Buffalo number 3. I do not have Buffalo in my top 5. They have Minnesota number 4, and of course, Dallas number 5. Interesting, you look at my power rankings, Tennessee's number 3. A really good football team, very competitive. Again, I just mentioned they're 6-2 ATS, even though the record's 5-3. Another team that really surprised me that's improved a lot, Chicago. Now, granted, their record doesn't show it. I think they're 3-6, but have improved offensively. Defense could use some work, but again, this is what the power rankings showed, so this is what we use. And, of course, we've always talked about how good the Giants are this year. Very good running team. Control time of possession, and was in a bye last week. So there's my top 5. And what's interesting, the reason why we use stats, because I think even if I was unbiased and tried to create an unbiased top 5, I doubt very seriously I would come up with Baltimore, Philadelphia, Tennessee, Chicago, and the Giants, right? So yeah, very fascinating that ended up being my top 5. So you can already see that, Buffalo is going to be overvalued. Kansas City is going to be overvalued. And, of course, everybody knows Philadelphia is a good team. So more times than not, when you see that, there won't be any value in any games that they play. Now, let's slide over and look at it. I'm going to give you a couple leans to look at. First off, let's take a look at this Minnesota-Buffalo game. You can already see here, line open at plus 9.5 Minnesota, and has already moved in favor of Minnesota. And we just showed you Minnesota's not in my top 5, but they definitely have improved. So that should be an interesting game. And you can see some of these other books have it at 6. BetOnline's pushed it down to 5.5. So yeah, definitely some value there on Minnesota. And then the other one we're going to look at is the one I just mentioned. Tennessee, Denver. And you notice this line open at -1.5 has already moved towards my line of, I'm not going to say my line, but Tennessee obviously favored if they're in my top 3, right? Only have to lay 3 against a struggling Denver team. So a ton of value there with Tennessee. All right, that's my top 5 power rankings. I do want to mention something that some of you might not know about. We have at MGCovers, you can purchase the daily power rankings. And with that, it's only $30. What you get access to all of my soccer power rankings for that day, access to all of my NBA power rankings for the day. My double-digit favorites now via my lines are 3-1 year to date. So you don't get a lot of those, but occasionally you will. And when you do, those teams win at a very high percentage, meaning they're double-digit favorites via my line, not the sportsbook line. And you also get access to NHL power rankings. So you get all that. And I'm also running a special, basically. If you purchase any of the daily power rankings, you also get college football for that week for absolutely free. So that's a really good value. Just go to the website, MGCovers, click on Join Daily Picks, $29.95. If you want access to all the power rankings, you get all of my coaching videos, 150 coaching videos, as well as access to all my lines for all sports, $49 a month. And if you get access to my daily picks, that's $100. You also get access to the coaching program as well. If you want to join for a year, $4.99 gives you access to everything on the site for $500. That's a savings of about $600. Good luck this week in the NFL. Make some smart wagers and talk to you guys soon. Peace.